So
Just
I saw you kind of laying down, kind of staring at the stars. How was that?
um honestly, I feel nothing. It's
Nothing at all.
weird. No. I could just look at the sky and all I see is just an empty void. I don't know. Maybe it's the hydrocodons. I don't really know. I just don't. I don't know. I just, other than just the physical pain, I don't. I'm not. I haven't really been feeling anything.
Wait, you don't. What do you mean you don't feel like anything? Like
Just don't.
besides obviously the pain in that. Like, is
I
this something that has always happened, or is this new?
just feels new. Like the last emotion I remember feeling was feeling very pissed off and telling you about how pissed off I was feeling on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, uh, I don't. Well, okay, no, actually, let me backtrack. Yesterday, I felt happy.
Yeah,
Very,
with
very,
Jake.
very happy. So let me just correct myself on that. But today, I just woke up and beyond just the physical achiness and just pain in general, uh, I don't really just, I just emotionally, there's really nothing there.
Just empty.
Yeah, and I was laying here looking at the sky and just wondering, why am I trying so hard? Why am I trying so hard to help people who just don't really like seem to appreciate the fact that I work so hard to even try to help them?
Mm-hmm. No, that it does kind of make a bit of sense. It's like one of the reasons why I was phoning all you guys, because everyone else is running around always worried about their own stuff, doing their own thing, and even when they go up to you guys for things, they like ask, but they never say thank you. They never do anything extra type thing, or they never do anything to show that they really appreciate what you're doing. And I wonder if maybe it's something where like your mind kind of reached a breaking point with it, where it was where maybe you're like just done with it.
Maybe. I think it also comes down to I just outside of really just even less people than I could count on one hand. I really just don't trust motherfuckers anymore, you know?
With so many people that have kind of betrayed your trust. And
Even if they didn't do it intentionally, just feel like their actions.
do you
Like
think
Garen's a great example, right? Like I did trust him, but once I found out how he's been running his mouth to everyone about other people, I just, I mean that's been completely destroyed for me. That's why I just don't talk to him. Like he texts me every fucking morning and says good morning, and if I need anything, let him know. And I think today was the first time I responded to him. Yeah, today was the first time I responded to him in a couple of days since he came to see me in the I almost said the hotel in the ICU. Um,
I some
yeah,
people stay there long enough that it is like a hotel.
seriously. Maybe
Has
maybe it's
this
just self-preservation mode, you know? Like it's just I'm just trying to. I, just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me.
has would you say that this emptiness almost kind of started like when Garen did his big kind of just like fuck off thing?
You mean when he fucking doom spiraled in front of me and
Yeah. And said all that stuff, about Ramona and that,
I mean, I
and
think it
where,
was probably the tipping point.
because I know we've talked about some of them. Walk me through people who have abandoned your trust throughout your life.
Okay. Well, my biological family, obviously. You know, we kind
Hmm.
of already talked about that a little bit. Lucky from families.
What did Lucky do?
This is the part where I maybe potentially admit to doing shit that I shouldn't have done.
And then what did Lucky do afterwards? Did Lucky tell people about that stuff?
No, he hasn't said anything, and because he's not stupid. It. They asked me to help them purchase a house, and
Oh, yes, yes, yes. You told me about this.
I was starting to tell you about this, I think. Uh, and they put a bunch of money in my RV and asked me to clean it for them, so this house could be purchased. And I was willing to do it, but I told them that it was going to take time because we had to be kind of careful about how I put it in the bank and like what I would say when I was making these large cash deposits. And when I say large cash deposits, I'm talking about any cash deposits between $2,000 and $4,000 a day. Then there was that night at Bahama. I was working Bahama Mamas, and they came in and literally transferred $30,000 into my account. Which
Hmm.
that is the only part Darren knows about that I told him, because I just said to him at the end of the night, I had big spenders come in and tip me a bunch of money. Anyway, so they just started like to me. It just felt like they were getting more and like they were pushing me faster and faster and faster. Like they wanted
Because
it
it
clean
wasn't you weren't cleaning it fast enough, and
for them.
and then
Yeah.
they wanted it more and more and more, and
And I found out some other things about the real reason why the housing market opened up when it did, and I don't really want to get into the details, but it made the information I was told made me hesitate enough on going forward with this plan that I went to them and specifically said, hey, if we pull the trigger on this, now I am going to be looking at a fuck ton of liability. And I'm the one taking all the risk. They're like, all right, well, if you don't want to do it, then just give us the money back. But at this point, because they had transferred all that money into my personal account via bank
hmm
transfer, they were like, okay, you need to give us $50,000 right now, and we'll just
yeah.
cut our losses.
And that's the thing with a lot of these kind of groups. They ask you to do what sounds like a very, very small thing, but as soon as they have that on you,
But the thing
they're
is
like,
that it would have fucking worked if they would have just been patient.
a lot of people like this, they don't think that far ahead, and they're not very patient. They think they have a great plan, but then greed kind of gets to them. They're like, no, no, we want it now. We want more. We want more. Because I'm sure that people see them as criminals already anyway, so they don't really care as much, but they're trying to do it a little bit clean. Well, then when it's someone like you who, as far as everyone in the
I
city is
have a
concerned,
lot to
is
fucking lose. That's the thing. Like
exactly.
I just don't know if they fully considered what I had, because they were like, oh, we'll compensate you, we'll pay you to blah blah blah. But the problem is, if I were to get caught doing major crime, I can't work. I can't work for the government anymore. I My business would be looked at severely.
Hmm.
I could potentially, especially with a financial crime, I could potentially lose it. My
They could take
reputation
everything.
gets damaged at that point, like beyond repair. And yeah, maybe they can't compensate me in cash, but then the only thing I can pay for is with that cash is food and gas. it literally, like, I wouldn't be able to do anything else. And I'm just like, that's what was frustrating to me. And then that announcement came out about the Strip Act, the anti-money laundering bill.
Oh, what was that one?
Basically, it says that basically if the government suspects you of obtaining assets through illegal means, they have the right to file a civil asset forfeiture lawsuit against you.
And take
And
everything?
then you have to prove, so then it falls on the person, the defendant. It doesn't it flips, so it's not the state having to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these things are happening. It flips and becomes that the defendant has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence, meaning 51%, that
Wait, how?
that's the way it's written in the law.
It's always supposed to be you are innocent until proven guilty, not you are
Not in
guilty
this
until
fucking.
proven innocent. That's how it should be. That's how everything should be. Or else the cops would be like, "Oh, hey, you went and murdered this person last night." It's like, I was in fucking bed. Fucking prove you were in bed. It's like, how does that work? Like they could put anyone in jail for that kind of stuff.
I mean, there's a couple of things. The Schwinghammer statute, the hot gun law, is like that too. So if you get found with a hot gun in your possession, even if you did no crime with it, but they find you with it and they run it and they determine it's a hot gun, just because you're in fucking possession of it, they basically treat it like you're the one who did it, and therefore you have the burden of proof to prove that you did not do it. It's the same way with this money laundering shit.
That is fucked. What have you talked to your lawyer again since all this stuff kind of happened?
Not since I've gotten out of the hospital. He's the one that's been helping me through this, and he actually was the one who told me to get out of the deal. So I'm glad I did, because I exited this whole situation before the Strip Act was announced as a thing.
Hmm. Okay. Something I want to touch back, not today, but later on. I want to see. Actually, I want you to keep track of this thing of nothing. I want you to kind of keep track, kind of like with your happiness journal. I want you to write down the days, which day and what you were doing that made you feel good or made you actually feel some sort of emotion. And this can be any emotion from sad, anger, happy, anything. That way we can kind of track and where this is going. Because I think, actually, before we keep going down that road, is there anyone else who has kind of betrayed your trust? So, family, Garen, the Familia people, or whatever they're called. Who else?
So there was when I was dating Luke, before the guy I was seeing before I met Hart. Um, he really pulled one over on me, big time.
Is this the lawyer, Luke?
No, no, he's definitely a criminal. Like I said, until I started dating Hart, I had a type, and it was bad boys, really bad boys. Like the badder, the better for me.
Like bad or evil?
Um,
Because there's definitely a difference.
I I don't know if I've ever met anyone like evil, evil, but um, I mean like people, like guys who
So
did
like
crime, you
thuggish,
know, kind of,
thuggish.
yeah. And there were definite like red flags in that relationship for me, like hindsight wise, obviously, right? But and I kind of would identify those red flags in the moment, but at the same time, I was so I'm trying to think of the right word. I was so determined to be the best girlfriend for him that I thought I could be, that I was willing to overlook those things. and
Mm-hmm.
do what he wanted. Specifically it was he wanted me to dress a certain way. Like what I'm wearing right now is kind of like a typical, like typically what I would normally wear, and then it's the kind of thing I would wear when we started dating. And then as we kind of got along in the relationship, he's like, babe, it would make me really happy if you wore stuff that like showed off your body more because you're beautiful. And I was
He
like,
it,
oh,
did it almost feel like he just wanted to show you off to everyone?
oh, 100%, he did. Uh, and then I did. I kind of pushed down those feelings of this doesn't exactly seem okay, um, and did it anyway because I was trying to just be the best girlfriend I could be. And he one day just called me up and said we need to talk, and I said all right. He goes, come down to the block. I said okay. Went down to the block. He was sitting there, and he sat me down and basically said, hey, so I've been thinking about it, and this really just isn't working for me anymore. You're busy, I'm busy, we just don't have time for each other, we're on opposite schedules now.
And
And
he just discarded you and abandoned you.
oh yeah, but what was more fucked up about that particular breakup was that his boys were literally hanging around listening to this whole thing happen. So not only was it, you know, was I being thrown to the side, but it was done in the most humiliating way possible.
In a humiliating, very public kind of way.
Uh huh.
Sorry.
It's not your fault.
I know, but you have had it rough. Seems like from day one. It seems like that stuff just keeps piling on, and you know what that could be? I think of what a lot of this could be too is a defense mechanism. I think it's your body going like, you know what? I open up. I trust so many people with all these different things, all these different aspects of your life. And time after time, you get betrayed. You get abandoned. You get tossed aside. You get used. I think it might be I think a part of it might be your mind just going like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just not going to feel anything for anyone about anything. And I'm just going to be this neutral kind of thing. I'm just going to do my own kind of thing. Now, the only exception to that is there are some things where you do feel, for example, although I think that anger thing where you exploded about Garen
Mm.
is was probably like you said was the tipping point for this. But I think there's still like that little sliver that's still left, and that's why you were able to feel the way you felt about Jake last night.
Yeah.
Has there been many other situations like that of betrayal and that, or is that pretty much about
I
it?
mean, I think I've pretty much told most of them to you. I mean, my ex husband leaving,
Mm-hmm.
um, the man who adopted me as his daughter disappearing suddenly, kind of leaving me in the lurch and in with the group that once he was gone, I was not in a good place with them. I mean, I'm sure there are more examples of smaller things, but just the most significant ones that stand out to me, I think I've I think I've told you all of them. So,
Okay. Yeah, no, this is yeah. I do think that this is probably a defense mechanism of your mind trying to protect you. Especially with I mean, especially with one, the whole familia thing, or however the
mm,
fuck you say it, and the Garen stuff
mm-hmm.
almost happening back to back. And I think maybe a small part of it as well could be some of the Jake stuff where
You know what kind of
obviously
set it
like
off? I can actually tell you what set it off because I
okay.
was feeling all right. When I woke up this morning, I had a text message from a number that was not saved in my phone, and they were basically saying, I'm getting married and I want to talk to you about reserving a blah 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 and making an event for blah blah blah. And it was like a laundry list of things that they were asking me to help them with. And
What
yeah.
actually have you talked to Katie about the money stuff at all?
Oh, fuck no. She's an ADA.
No, I'm the only reason I was bringing it up is because, like, how close of friends are you?
I mean, she asked me to be the maid of honor in her wedding.
That seems like a pretty close friend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that
But there's certain
if
shit I
anyone
can't talk to her about because she
no
works
no
for the
no
DA's office. Like, I can't tell
no
her
I
that.
no I know, I understand that. What I'm saying is, if something like this were to come down the pipe, do you think she would just go after you like she'd go after everyone else, or do you think she'd be like, hey, this doesn't really make sense, I'm gonna go talk to Lola and just make sure this isn't like something that's just being fuckery and
I,
possibly like
I
shut it
think
down?
I think if PD were to bring a case against me, she would, and Jake too, because Jake also works for the DA's office. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, they would probably not
step back.
pick up the case, is what they would do. Because I don't think
Okay.
they would feel right picking up a case against me.
Because yeah, because both sides would have an argument of like, it's like one would be like, "Ugh," I mean, the cops would be like, no, you can't do that, you're fucking really good friends with her and blah blah blah, and
Well, it
the
would
other
be a
side would be like,
conflict. It
yeah,
would be a
be a huge
conflict. That's why
conflict.
they wouldn't pick it up. Especially because I have been with Jake, especially because I've been physically intimate with the man on several occasions, and we have a deep
Hmm.
personal connection.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't expect them uh, to I would expect them to, if they really had to do their job, I wouldn't hold it against them. But I also know that they would probably do everything in their power to recuse themselves from the situation.
Okay.
But this is why I can't tell them anything. I just told you.
Hmm.
I can't, because if I
Yeah,
tell
well,
them, then they have to report it.
very true.
And I hate keeping things from them. I really fucking do. But it's just, I made a stupid mistake. I feel like these our sessions aren't really sessions anymore.
Yeah, you're kind of saying that yesterday too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do care about you. You're a very good person. And I know that, you may have stepped in some stuff that you wish you didn't step in, but we all do things like that. We all sit there, especially when it comes down to good people like you, where you want to help people, you want to do good for everyone, and you want to give people a hand with things. And you expect that people would, treat you the same way that you treat them, but people just end up stabbing you in the back and again and again and again just abandon you, throw you to the side. And maybe eventually it'll be like, I mean, I never consider, you know, blood to be family.
Mm-hmm.
I think family are the people that you hold close and the people that, deserve to be in your life, that treat you the way that you treat them.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a small little family, that's okay.
I just have never had that. Thought I did.
And again,
At one
maybe I
point,
was,
I was really close, and then just got
yeah.
ripped away.
hmm But don't worry, I'm going nowhere. I will be here with you to the end,
What did you say?
which will probably end up being my end, and then Mercy will end up holding my heart in her hands.
What do you mean you're gonna be with me to the end? Like, I don't understand.
Oh no, until something big and dramatic happens, like say until one of us dies. That is what I mean. I am not leaving your side at all for anything. I will be here forever.
I have to admit, I feel really close to you, and I don't know if that's a good thing because, I mean, I thought the whole point of therapy was to have to talk to somebody who's objective and like not super involved, and it feels like the line's blurry now.
I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm the psychologist, you're the patient. I'm going to tell you, this kind of stuff. I'm going to give you a bunch of these big words or whatever, which I don't do because I barely remember the big words. But I think the best way to make people feel better is by giving them what they need. By giving them, say, like with you, giving you that little piece of that family that you've been missing your entire life. Because even your family wasn't even your family. And you deserve that.
You trying to say you want to be my family?
In a roundabout way. I think it's something that you need. I think it's something that I can give you.
Just want to have a place where I belong. That's all I really want.
I am here for you. I will always be here for you. I will do whatever I can to help you get through what you need. Well, I mean it, Lola. You're worth it. And I hope that you realize that. Even if it's not today, I hope eventually you do realize it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Can I give you a hug?
I think I'd really like that.
All right, let's go find you some of those sweets.